So after former President Obama claimed credit for our current economic boom yesterday, President Trump fired back, saying the boom is due to rolling back Obama's policies by cutting regulations and taxes. So who's right? Who cares? Think about it. The debate we're having isn't over how great things are. That ship has sailed. The media and the Dems see there's no more denying the success, so now it's about quibbling over credit. Fine. Let the Dems have it. It won't win them election, but it might reduce their tears. Divorce rumors continue to escalate for the Obamas. Hopefully they can settle it like men.
After former President Obama took credit for the strong economy, President Trump fired back, saying the success came from undoing Obama's policies cutting taxes and removing regulations. So, who's actually responsible? Honestly, who cares? Things are going well, and that's not up for debate anymore. The media and Democrats can't deny it. So now they're just fighting over who gets credit. Let them have it won't help them win elections, but maybe it'll help them stop crying. Meanwhile, rumors about the Obamas getting a divorce keep growing.
Is it helping the party to tell them to return to the rhetoric that helped them lose in 2024, like the dictator kind of stuff? It doesn't work on half the country. It's not going to get any better.
I don't think they have answers. And is it me? He's looking banged up.
Yeah, he's been having
it's the first time. It's something I've never seen with him. He looks scared.
They can settle it like adults. Greg Gutfeld just took a blowtorch to Obama's carefully polished image. All that charm and those inspiring speeches. Greg turned them into ashes. He didn't hold back. He tore into the myth of hope and change, exposing 8 years full of empty promises, media hype, and elite double standards. If you thought Obama's legacy was
you to believe, not in my ability to bring about change, but in yours. Yes, we can. Yes, we did. Yes, we can.
Oh, God. Well, it was a moving speech, and the audience response equally moving. So if the Obama presidency were a film, this speech would be the climax. All that's missing is the horse, the sunset, the rousing closing music as the title card reads the end, perhaps in cursive.
Greg just proved otherwise. He ripped off the mask and asked the big question no one else wants to. What did Obama actually fix? And about today's Democrats. Greg wonders if going back to the same old talking points that lost them the 2024 election is really helping. That whole dictator talk isn't working. Half the country doesn't buy it. Things aren't looking up for them. Obama.
With somebody that you don't like and you try to lose them at the party, that's what Obama has done to Joe. He's lost them at the party, and now he's moving on. And then he tweets, and then you find out that he's tweeting about something else while you're at the party. And it's just, I think it's kind of mean to Joe. The second thing is that it's part of that I told you mechanism that only happens when things are good. Because do you think Obama would take any responsibility if the good times were actually bad?
Obama himself isn't looking too confident either. For the first time, he seems shaken. Greg says Obama pulled off the biggest political illusion in modern history, making 8 years of disappointment look like a hit Netflix series with glowing reviews, but Greg doesn't need magic tricks to see through it. Just some honesty and a refusal to pretend that flowery speeches can make up for bad results. Remember, Obama's famous...
President Obama took another stand against evil yesterday, lashing out at ISIS, pernicious gang crime and human rights abuses in left-wing dictatorships like Venezuela and Cuba. I was kidding. He went after Fox News again.
I think the effort to suggest that the poor are sponges, leeches, are...
Line. Yes, we can. Then later, yes, we did. Greg rolls his eyes. Sure, the speech got applause and music swelled, but if his presidency were a movie, that moment would be the dramatic ending. Cue the horse, the sunset, and the words the end in fancy writing. But let's be real. Obama ran the country like a polished LinkedIn page. It looked nice, but there wasn't much behind it. People acted like he cured disease.
An act of wonderfully skewed priorities, President Obama will appear in a reality TV show in which he gets survival tips from Bear Grylls in Alaska. Funny how far that is from the streets of Chicago, outposts in need of real survival training, much like the streets of Baltimore, Milwaukee, New York, New Orleans, where citizens are ventilated daily.
Jesus balanced the budget and turned water into almond milk. Meanwhile, Greg is sitting there saying, okay, but what did he actually do? Drone strikes, celebrity selfies, and vague promises. Obama even left Joe Biden out in the cold. Greg says it's like you go to a party with someone, and halfway through, They wander off and start tweeting about something else. It's kind of rude and that I told you so vibe from Obama. It only shows up when things are going well. If the economy was bad, would he be stepping up to take the blame? Not likely. Would Obama ever take the blame if the good times were actually bad? Not likely. Greg Gutfeld compares Obama's presidency to a rigged warranty. Sounded good up front, but didn't deliver. Obama promised hope and change, but by the end, hope needed therapy. And change was sleeping in a tent behind a Whole Foods. The economy barely grew, but the media acted like it was booming. Wages didn't rise much, but you'd think he was handing out gold bars the way people praised him. And instead of taking a tough stance on real threats like ISIS, violent gangs, or abusive regimes in countries like
Obama surprised fans on our new podcast by saying her pet peeve about her husband is that he's chronically late. For example, we're still waiting on him to admit he's from Kenya. And as for Barack's pet peeve about Michelle, he's mad that she keeps leaving the toilet seat up. When she cleans it. When she cleans it.
Venezuela and Cuba. Obama once again took aim at his favorite target, Fox News. Now let's talk about that stimulus plan. The massive government spending package that was supposed to fix the economy. Greg says it was like pouring a sports drink on a wildfire and then wondering why the fire kept burning. The government spent nearly $1 trillion, but there wasn't much to show for ad channel. Let you count the expensive signs bragging about projects that didn't actually help much. In fact, those signs cost more than the jobs they were promoting. And while cities like Chicago, Baltimore, and New Orleans faced real problems like violence and poverty, Obama was out filming a survival TV show in the Alaskan wilderness with Bear Grylls. That's a strange kind of leadership. Then there's healthcare. Obama's proudest achievement tour, biggest headache, depending on your experience.
And maybe Obama had something to do with today's economy. I mean, without Obama, would we have Trump? Fact is, this debate says a lot about life today. The Trump economy is so great that Trump haters now want credit for it. Next thing you know, Obama will claim credit for putting kids in cages.
The launch of the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, was a mess. The website barely worked, and many people couldn't keep their doctors like they were promised. Greg jokes that his doctor is probably in Canada now. In the end, healthcare became more confusing and more expensive. And then there's the Nobel Peace Prize. Obama won it early on, and Greg still laughs at that. He compares it to giving someone a gold medal just for showing up, not because they did anything to earn it. Giving Obama the Nobel Peace Prize was like giving someone a gold medal just for wearing a shiny tracksuit to the race. The media praised him, even when serious mistakes happened like bombing a wedding by accident. Then there was the spying issue. Obama promised to be open and honest, but he let the NSA grow bigger and spy on people more than ever. Greg jokes it was the biggest trick since selling decaf coffee as real. People's privacy disappeared, but Obama said things calmly, and people treated it like a smart TED Talk.
5 more words.
Fact. Obama's now a Republican.
Everyone knows that getting rid of the deficit will require some tough decisions. And that includes cutting back on billions of dollars in programs that a lot of people care about. But what should be easy is getting rid of the pointless waste and stupid spending that doesn't benefit anybody.
Michelle Obama once joked on a podcast that her husband is always late. Greg adds sarcastically that we're still waiting for him to admit he's from Kenya. Barack, on the other hand, said Michelle annoys him by leaving the toilet seat up while cleaning it. Now, let's talk about Wall Street. Obama was supposed to protect regular people, but once he became president, he sided with the big banks. Greg says it was like putting a fox in charge of the chicken coop. Of course, there was a mess. The banks got richer and faced no punishment, while everyday Americans lost homes. And Obama didn't need a press team because the media always backed him up. Greg calls it the golden age of media sucking up. Everything he did was called historic, even if it failed. And now, people argue Obama deserves credit for today's strong economy. Greg jokes that Obama might even try to take credit for putting kids in cages, something that actually happened during his term. He just made it look nicer with soft lighting and music. On education, Obama's plan was to spend tons of money.
On Sunday, Val Jarrett went on CNN to defend her pal, President Obama. I wonder if the president prides himself on the fact that his administration hasn't had a scandal and that he hasn't done something to embarrass himself.
The president prides himself on the fact that his administration hasn't had a scandal and that he hasn't done anything to embarrass himself.
Now that's a low bar for achievement. He hasn't embarrassed himself. But it's true, no one on his staff was caught in bed with a giraffe yet. But to agree with Val, you got to ignore the IRS,
the DOJ, Benghazi, Secret Service, Bo Bergdahl, and the secret server that led to the orange.
And hope something good came out of it. Greg calls this academic trickle-down. Schools in poor areas didn't get better, just got new logos and empty promises. When it came to guns, Obama talked a lot about gun control while being protected by more armed guards than a comic book villain. Greg says the problem wasn't with guns, it was with the fact that regular people had them. Not just him. And while Obama was praised for compassion, he actually deported more people than any other president. The kids in cages issue. That system started under him, he just made it look nicer so people wouldn't get mad. Truth is, Obama started sounding more like a Republican. He talked about cutting the national debt and removing useless government spending. He said we'd have to make some hard choices and cut programs people liked. But what should have been easy was getting rid of wasteful spending that didn't help anyone. But under Obama, the national debt almost doubled. Yet, people still called him smart with money. Greg finds that
We woke up to breaking news. Obama isn't woke at all.
This idea of purity and you're never compromised and you're always politically woke and all that stuff, you should get over that quickly. The world is messy. There are ambiguities. People who do really good stuff have flaws. Like if I tweet or hashtag about how you didn't do something right or used the wrong verb, or then I can sit back and feel pretty good about myself because, man, you see how woke I was?
Ridiculous. He says calling Obama fiscally responsible is like calling someone who starts fires a genius at home heating. Sure, Obama walked into a mess, but instead of fixing it, he just decorated it, made things worse, and blamed others. After leaving office, Obama didn't fade away. He changed his image. Now he's more like a highly paid narrator than a former leader. Greg jokes that if Morgan Freeman ever retires, Obama could take his place with the voice, the sweater, and the smug smile. These days, Obama hangs out with tech elites, sipping wine, and talking about leadership. But Greg wonders, does he even remember what real work looks like? And when Trump came in and erased many of Obama's executive orders, it was like watching a house of...
Now, technically, it's a scandal telling America you can keep your doctor, a callous deception that hurts millions. And it's a scandal of will to deny a toxic doctrine fomenting apocalyptic violence. And it's a scandal to ignore the modern Black Death, a plague currently crippling Chicago. Obama's tenure had more dirty linen than Charlie Sheen's hamper. But when your heart's in the right place, doing the wrong thing's always forgivable. And maybe scandal was just so common.
Cards fall. Obama seemed shocked, even though his policies were never built to last. Greg compares his presidency to a dry erase board, easy to wipe clean. Then Obama's close friend, Valerie Jarrett, went on CNN to defend him. She proudly said his time in office was scandal-free, and he never embarrassed himself. Greg calls that a very low standard. Sure, there were no giraffes in the bedroom, but if you believe Valerie, you'd have to ignore a lot. The IRS targeting scandal, the Justice Department drama, the Benghazi attack, the Secret Service problems, Bo Bergdahl's controversial swap, and Hillary Clinton's private server scandal all under Obama. Greg doesn't buy the claim that Obama had a presidency. He compares it to saying a magician never messed up just because the audience clapped. In reality, scandals were there, but the media hid them like dirty secrets locked away in the basement. Then came the big surprise. Obama said being politically woke isn't the answer. He warned against acting perfect or judging others, just to feel better about yourself. That's a big change from what many of his supporters believed. Greg joked